What's up, everybody? Welcome to another show, man. It's NBA Talk with Jay. I'm your host, Jay Money, obviously, and this is my guy here, Rob Veno, man. We cash on Mondays, and today is Monday as well, man. Let's get some cash. What's up with you, Rob? Everything cool with you, my guy?
Everything is good, buddy. Everything's good. Closing out on the or heading into the college bowl season right now. So football bowls will take up a little bit of my time as well as the NBA and the NFL. And I tell you the truth, I will begin to focus more. I don't know how you or if you do it, Jay, but college basketball I haven't paid much attention to so far, but now's about the time where we have to start paying attention to that as well. So yeah, busy time of year, but it's been good.
Exactly. Definitely it's been good, man. We're here breathing as well. So definitely nothing to complain from me, my guys. But let's get straight to it here, man. Let's go over here to the streets of Indiana here. First game up. We have the Pacers here getting 3 points at the house versus the Miami Heat in this one, Rob. Obviously the Heat have not been playing well. I believe they've lost they obviously been very lackluster on the road as well. Now the Pacers were playing really nice. They have played a ton of games in a ton of days as well here, Rob, coming off that the road trip. Now third game in 4 nights at the house. It's fourth game in 6 nights. How do you think the Pacers will do here? You think they'll bounce back here?
Well, I think, once Tyrese Halliburton came back a couple of games ago, the offense got right back into full swing. Buddy Hield had a nice night the other night as well. And when they're rolling, it's a pretty difficult team to stop, right? There's a lot of good pieces on this team, Jay. I still question them defensively. Obviously, if there's a difference in this game, it would be Miami's defense against the Indiana defense. That's certainly edged Miami. However, I think we talked about it last week. The inconsistencies with Miami this season, and a lot of it's due to who's in the lineup. On any given night, it's a different 8-man, 9-man rotation. But I saw, last Monday, I know we both came in here and said we expect Miami to start stacking wins. And the first thing they did was stack more losses. So it's hard to get behind them. But I really feel at some point in time at 12-15, you got to win games like this at home. So if I were to play, I'd probably be with the Heat here. But I didn't play because I can't trust them as of yet. So I probably don't have much to recommend to anybody watching right now.
Yeah, no, I'm with you on that. Yeah, me personally, I could only look towards the Heat here. Now obviously the Pacers could be pissed off here, guys. They're coming off a loss versus the Brooklyn Nets, guys, where the Nets basically set their top 6 guys. The Pacers still lost that game as well. And guess what? They still didn't cover the first quarter as well, guys. The Pacers it's crazy because this is just a pattern, Rob, right? We always notice the patterns. This team is 1-9 straight up and against the spread last 10 first quarters. I don't know what it is, but the Pacers come out very slow, very lackluster as well. So what I'm looking at in this game, I'm looking at Heat in the first quarter minus the half. That's the only way I could look in this game. Heat should be pissed off as well. They're coming off a double digit. They're coming off a game where they were double digit favorites, guys, and they lost outright. So both teams probably coming in here pissed off. It is the third straight game for the Pacers at the house, but I just don't like the scheduling for them. This team has played a ton of games. Rob, they played 7 games in 11 days all on the road. Then they come home and played a back-to-back. Now this is third game in 4 nights for them. So it's still fourth game in 6 days. Overall, 10th game in 16 days for the Pacers here. So I don't want to be taking them full game. It's Heat or nothing for me here full game. And if I'm liking something here, it's Heat in the first quarter here with the Pacers just being, I don't know, for whatever reason, just coming out very bad in the first quarter. So I'd be looking at Heat in the first quarter and Heat full game in this one, my guys. The only way that I could play this one. Let's go over here to the streets of Washington, D.C. here, Rob. We have the Wizards getting 6 points at the house versus the Brooklyn Nets. Total sitting at around 227 in this one. Nets have basically owned the Wizards this year, Rob. Do you think they continue to smack them up?
I tell you what, you cannot complain with anything that the Brooklyn Nets offense has done, Jay. They're 50% shooting or better from the field. Amazingly, 50% better in 10 of their last 11. That's crazy that a team can shoot that well every single night or almost every single night. However, it doesn't correlate to point spread wins. It doesn't correlate to a bunch of overs. They're kind of middling right now. And you talked about how everybody sat the other night and they put up 136. Tonight, everybody's back. Here's where I think the Nets have an edge, though, tonight, because Washington's point guard play, Beal will be out again. Not that he's generally their point guard, but he does have some ball handling responsibilities when others aren't on the floor. Without Monte Morris, if he doesn't go again, the other night they relied on Goodwin to play point. decent night, but I don't think it's a very good matchup for the Wizards at all against Kyrie, arrested Kyrie in this one. I'm going to go the route in this game, Jay, that you usually go, which is try and get inside these guys' heads and figure out where they might be on this night. Let's just throw the stats away for 1 second here and say that all those Nets starters sat the bench the other night and watch the reserves go out and win a game straight up. You would think that those guys come out tonight and say, hey, listen, the backups just won a game. We got to get out here and start winning games. So I think they do have an edge here against Washington. Washington's played poorly as of late. So I'm probably going to side with Brooklyn here in some form.
Yeah, it's a good point. Like I say, they are 2-0 straight up versus them this season. Depending on what line you got in the last game, then we could say 2-0 against the spread as well. Wizards in somewhat of a free fall. They've lost their last 6 games, 9 of their last 10 games as well. I'm not looking towards taking the Wizards right now, guys. So it's one of those where, I mean, maybe if they're catching double digits with the rest advantage or something like that, but I'm just not looking towards betting the Wizards right now. It's either I'm going against them or I'm staying off the game in this one. As Rob said, Nets 8-2 straight up here against straight up last 10 games as well. And the Wizards head off on a 6-game road trip, West Coast road trip after this game as well. So you wonder, I always say, kiss your babies and wives goodbye. You're going to head out on the road after a while, right after this game. So I don't really have a plan this game. That's a good look with Rob there. Obviously, Nets coming out. You got to build that momentum off that game. They don't play again. They play the Raptors for 3 days after this game. So no real look ahead for the Nets. They could somewhat go all out. I'd lean Nets here. It's not something I play, but I'd lean Nets. Let's go over here to the streets of Memphis here, man. We have the Hawks coming off a crazy game yesterday, man. That game-winning shot there in overtime by my guy Griffin there. They're getting 8 points here at the house versus Grizzlies. Not really sure how we bet this game right now. John Morant's questionable here. He popped up on the injury report here, Rob. Do you think that he plays or what? How do we play this game?
Well, I hope he does because I got there a little too aggressively last night, right, Jay? I saw 7 and I said, man, I got to play Memphis -7. And then I see that injury pop up. But however, to that point, the number hasn't come down, which would indicate that, it might indicate that they think he's going to be all right here. But there's a lot of situational reasons to like the Memphis side in this game. For one, the Atlanta injuries, and it is surprising how well they played offense the last 2 games without the players that they haven't had. But I think all season long, Jay, what we've noticed is that the Atlanta bench is not really that good. So when you start subtracting Hunter and Collins and Murray from that lineup, you would think they wouldn't perform that well. But boy, oh boy, money steamed in, and somebody knew something because money came in heavy on the total 2 nights ago, way over. Money came in heavy on that Bulls game yesterday. It took overtime to get it there, but it did get there. However, at this point, I would say this. If we're talking about scheduling 3rd and 4 nights for Atlanta, second of back-to-backs off an overtime game where Trae Young played over 42 minutes and shot the ball poorly, the shoulder is still somewhat of an issue. I'm not going to say it's a serious hindrance, but I'm going to say it's a little bit bothersome and maybe enough to get Trae Young some rest here tonight. We don't know that for a fact either. That could pop up an hour before game time. But Memphis has been dominant as of late. Memphis, I think I'm doing the numbers off the top of my head from this morning, but I believe I had 6-1 against the spread in their last 7 games. And to that point, every single one of those victories was by 8 or more. So the 8 is right in where the point spread sits right now. I think if you add in situational stuff like I just talked about with scheduling and the potential for maybe Trae to sit here or even be ineffective, Jay, like he was last night because of the shoulder. I like Memphis in this game. I think they should. Yeah, at home, they've been doing the job, and recently they've been doing the job real well.
Yeah, I couldn't talk you off in this one. Like you said, obviously they have the rest advantage as well. This team shows out at the house as well. Like you said, and maybe someone knows some. It could even be a situation where maybe Ja Morant is out, but they know that maybe Trae Young's not going to play. So this team has a ton of injuries. Obviously, DeJounte Murray out for a while. Collins likely about to be traded, but he's hurt right now. I believe Hunter did come back last game, but yeah, coming off that overtime game, huge emotional win as well. That's a good look there with the Grizzlies in this one. I don't really have a look on this game. I don't know how to bet the Hawks, man. You never know when they're going to turn up. You never know when they're going to get smacked up, man. So it's just one of those teams like Jekyll and Hyde teams, especially on the road, guys. You never know what you're going to get from the team. Would definitely not be surprised if they got smoked, took in the smack city in this one, in the grindhouse over there, man. Let's go over here to the streets of Dallas. We have the Mavs laying 8 points at the house here, Rob. Like I said, and it's crazy because like that 8 seems very rich, especially the way the Thunder cover as road dogs as well, Rob. It seems like a lot of people would be taking the Thunder in this one. So I didn't take the Thunder or Mavs full game, but it just seems super easy to take Thunder plus the 8 here, right?
Well, a couple ATS losses in a row now for OKC, a couple of unders here for OKC, a couple of, one very poor shooting performance, the other middle of the road, probably NBA average 45.8% for the game. Yeah, we've said it before, Jay, they always give you 48 minutes. We know that. The question is now with Dallas bringing Luka back tonight, they gave up 82 in the first half the other night, 144 for the game. And if ever there was a throwaway game, and I can understand it, it was off the heels of that Milwaukee game, which was, it's a heartbreaking loss for the Mavs, who have been playing really, really well. Again, I'll go back to what we referenced last week was the return of Tim Hardaway, or not the return, but the insertion of Tim Hardaway Jr. into the starting lineup. And I tell you, right up until that, and even through that Milwaukee game, they look good, Jay. They just look good. They look like a different team, first unit, second unit. And I'd almost be willing to come back with them here in this game. I think you get Luka off rest. There's no matchup for him in this. There's hardly ever a matchup for him anyway. So that point doesn't need to be brought up. But they were just the offense is flowing. The defense has been better. And again, that Milwaukee game, I felt like they should have won that game. Hard fought game. Credit to Milwaukee for pulling it out. But I don't want to play against Dallas right now because in the beginning of the season, when they couldn't cover a spread for almost a month, since then, it's been a pretty good turnaround. They're certainly the better team. SGA is going to get his, but I think the rest of the advantages all go to the Mavs in at home. I'm going to try Dallas here in this spot, Jay.
Yeah, I couldn't talk you off, man. What you thinking Dallas full game? Well, I'm kind of looking at Dallas early in this. I mean, I think I think it could be a trifecta spot, man. Maybe the Thunder are starting to regress here a little bit, regardless, at least on this little road trip as well, because they're on a nice little road trip here. So, in regards to it, because like this, guys, when you're on a little road trip, you're supposed to drop some of those games. You're not just. It takes a really stout type of team for you to just go like on a 4 or 5 game road trip and just go undefeated. You see what I'm saying? You got to really be a top tier type of team, and even those teams don't do it here. So, with the Mavs being pissed off, you said they gave up 144 last game. It was just a horrible game, kind of throwaway type of game there. You could tell by the injuries. I think they come back here at the house and get some favorable matchups here. I think they might come out here and catch a trifecta spot versus the Thunder here. So I'm looking at first quarter, first half. That's what I'd be looking at. Rob, you like in full game here?
Yeah, and I'm going to make one quick point because you said something that triggered it, Jay, is that Oklahoma City, where they're concerned, and I'm a guy who keeps power ratings and have my own numbers, and then when the lines come out, I kind of counterpunch to what the odds maker throws out there. But Oklahoma City is no longer overvalued by the bookmakers. Like I made this number 8, and it comes 8. And generally speaking, up until this point, even into last year when OKC was covering a lot of numbers, if I would come with the number 8, they'd probably be getting 10.5. You know what I mean? Oklahoma City was always padded, to be like the losing team that nobody wants. So we have to attract attention by making the line larger for OKC. Now that mindset of bettors is gone, people actually look to play OKC plus now. Now the lines come back. We always talk about how odds makers adjust. And maybe to your point about OKC, maybe a little bit of regression. It could be just the fact that the numbers aren't what they were just a little while ago, and Dallas is, priced pretty fairly here tonight. So I would like full game as well, although OKC will battle you to the final second. So you're usually always a little nervous playing against them laying points.
Fact. Those are, I'll be honest, Rob, those are the reason why I'm looking at it like, damn, I don't know if I want to lay the 8 with the Mavs. Sometimes they can, take the fourth quarter off. But I'll be honest, this is one where this doesn't really matter, but this could be one where it's like a public underdog, right, Rob? Where it's like, all right, everyone's on this underdog. They're like, man, they're getting to a few many points, and then they get smoked by 20 points. So it doesn't really matter where the money's at. I mean, sometimes it could, but I don't really put that into factor in. I made to myself, but I won't really mention it here. But let's just say that I feel like a lot of people may think the Thunder looks super easy today, and maybe the Mavs come out here and smoke them. But me personally, I think they'll come out here early, first quarter, first half, and probably try to build a big lead here up, guys. So that's what I'll be looking at in this one, first quarter, first half for the Mavs. A couple more games here. Let's get to it. Let's go over here to the streets of Portland here. We have the Blazers laying 4 points at the house, Rob, versus the Wolves here. I watched that last game, and I mean, the Wolves, it was crazy because if you had Wolves plus 5.5, I mean, you probably deserved to cash that one, but you didn't. Some late fouls or whatever in that one, but it was a close game through and through, Rob. The Wolves were on a back-to-back in that one, though. Now equal rest. What do you think is going to happen in this game?
Well, you know what? Generally, I like to take the other side in these back-to-backs or 2 and 3 days that we've been seeing an awful lot of this season, right, Jay? We just saw one with New Orleans and Phoenix, and I happened to land on the wrong end of that. I thought Phoenix plus points yesterday after losing to New Orleans the other night. And, you know, the old saying, overtime is not the underdog's friend. Certainly bear true yesterday. Our overtime was not the underdog's best friend. However, as much as I think Portland, Jay, is going to be a factor in the race here, the playoff race, when they are totally healthy, and they're getting a little bit more healthy now, their defense still leaves a ton to be desired. You talked about the other night, tough loss for the Minnesota Timberwolves, but that was a game where I'm looking right here at the numbers. Minnesota gave up 54.3%. Portland gave up 54.3% from the floor. It's the second straight game allowing over 50%. They're just not committed. Or I don't even know if they're not committed. Maybe they're just not good enough on that end, right? I feel like Minnesota comes back here as the dog, covers this number. These two teams are so evenly matched, Jay. I just feel like in the rematch, there's no reason not to take the points here.
No, that's facts right there, man. Yeah, this line was at 5 last night. I had to sprinkle a little some on the Wolves at the 5. I mean, it's down to 4, touching 3.5, and I mean, I couldn't talk them off the line move in this one, man. So, like you said, two evenly matched teams, and the way I'm looking at it, Russell is back and seemed like he wants to ball, and that's the motor that makes the Wolves go. Obviously, they need McDaniels, Anthony Edwards, and they need Gobert to play at a high level. But when Russell is really locked in and trying to play some defense and trying to make plays on offense and making his shots, that's when the Wolves are scary, guys. He was 4 for 5 from 3 the last game, and I just sense something different from Russell right now. And they didn't give him a contract extension as well. So whether it's a contract extension with them or a different team, Russell has all the motivation to play at a high level right now. I can only look at Wolves plus the 4 in this game, my guys, in the revenge spot. It is their 4th game in 6 nights, unfortunately, but last game, I say, they were on the back-to-back, and they still showed some in the second half and almost had a chance to win that game and to go down to the wire. So this time with at least with a day off as rest, it's tough to play in Portland there, but I would still lean Wolves at plus 3.5 and plus 4, my guys. I wouldn't be surprised if they won this one outright, guys. Last game up, we're going over here to the streets of LA here, Rob. We have the Clippers getting 3.5 points here. Someone traveling all over the place here, my guys. You got the Celtics here coming off the loss versus the Golden State Warriors in that one, my guys. Over the weekend, man. Taking a loss versus the Warriors, Rob. How you think the Celtics react to that? How you think the Clippers do coming back home off the road trip?
I'm going to get to it in a second, but I want to veer off, and I hate to do this to you, Jay, because we're always time constrained here, but I want to veer off and just get your opinion on something, because where the T-Wolves are concerned, basically all season long, up until the Karl Anthony Towns injury, right? The talk was Gobert and Towns on the floor together just ain't working, right? It didn't seem to be working. To that point, until Karl Anthony Towns got hurt and started sitting the bench, D'Angelo Russell wasn't working. Right. Is there anything to the point that Towns is on the bench, 2 big guys aren't on the floor together anymore with Russell, and all of a sudden Russell has taken off? He's been great the last 5 or 6 games. I have to say his shooting was terrible up until that point, but now he's putting up. I don't know if it's correlated at all, but it's just what I noticed, that all of a sudden D'Angelo Russell playing really, really well.
No, you make some good points there. Yeah, it's probably the pick and roll. The pick and roll runs a whole lot more smoother when it's only one big out there on the floor. That's what I'm seeing. So Gobert, like I say, he's getting back to playing how he did in Utah as well. That was a nice a nice game as well. The Timberwolves, that was a nice game. But yeah, I think the Timberwolves. Yeah, I think that Russell was back to how he's playing, and Anthony Edwards was struggling as well. Now he's getting back to playing how he was as well. So I think it's Russell and Edwards. They're getting a little bit more space, a little bit more better movement with the ball now that two bigs aren't necessarily cluttering up the paint in this one, Rob. But how you looking at this Clippers versus Celtics spot?
I'm looking at the Boston side, Jay. I mean,
It's the
they've
only
come
way.
in and they've destroyed. This reminds me of the game they just played in Phoenix a couple of games back, where I mean, from the opening tip, it was Boston, Boston, Boston. The Golden State game winds up being a loss the other night, and I'm sure that on this West Coast road trip, they would like to assert themselves with the Western Conference teams and let them know, hey, we're here. And I think that's what's going to happen. They just shoot too well for me. And the Clippers don't always shoot that well. The Clippers really are predicated on depth and defense. And Boston just overcomes that so easily. If you just want to talk about the stylistic matchup here where Boston wants pace, create pace up and down, shoot some threes. And the Clippers, we know, are one of the slowest teams in the NBA. They want to plod along and not necessarily go quick. And then, like I say, their shooting goes in and out. Boston's the trustworthy team here to me. They've proven it throughout the season. I don't think there's any defense at this point in time that they can't score enough against to cover this small of a number. And I don't think venue bothers them, Jay. Honestly, I mean, a lot of times when we discuss games, we talk about this team's great at the house, not so great on the road. I don't think any place affects Boston whatsoever. So for me, this was the first one I put a check mark next to Boston tonight. I'm definitely there already, and my clients will be there as well.
Yeah, I couldn't talk you off, man. I probably won't bet against the Celtics all year, to be honest with you, especially with them being pissed off again. Now, you remember what happened when they come off the when they come off the finals loss. Now they come off the loss again versus the Warriors, man. I wouldn't be looking to bet against the Celtics here. Let's just put it that way, guys. And first quarter, first half, the only way I could look in this one, I see the Celtics coming out bouncing back here early and often in this one, and the Clippers might not be able to keep up. I'll be honest with you. I'm not really sure what's going on with the Clippers right now. I'm literally trying to put my finger on it. This is supposed to be one of the best teams, if not the best team in the Western Conference. I'm listening to interviews. Ty Lue, it seemed like every time, this is like 3 interviews in a row now. They asked him a question about a player. He said, I don't know. You have to ask those guys. And so it's not really a problem with saying that, but when you seem so disconnected and you seem like he doesn't seem like the Ty Lue to me, in my opinion. It seems like he's kind of losing grip of the team. They're not listening to him, in my opinion. They're not really playing like defense what they're supposed, like the Clippers that we know. I don't know if they're kind of just saying, Rob, this could be a thing where Kawhi is telling them, hey, we're just going to kind of sleepwalk through the first half of the season and then really turn on it. That's also a possibility because this Clippers team is way too good to be playing like this that they're playing, in my opinion. Rob, what do you think about that? You think Kawhi is kind of telling them, don't just kind of sleepwalk through the first half, make sure there's no major injuries, and then maybe after All-Star break, we're going to try to go on like a 20-2 run and really get into playoff. What do you think? I think it's a possibility.
And it very well could be, Jay. Obviously, and the way you described it is best. We're always trying to read between the lines from what we hear, from what we're reading. Some of these coaches don't give you much, but you have to try and put yourself in there and try and figure out exactly what they're trying to say. I would say this. If anybody went back and played back the season preview that UI and Ski did on the LA Clippers, they'll hear me and you both, because Ski's a Clipper hater. It was only me and you. Talk about how deep they were and how we both thought they could be conference final material, to the point about Kawhi maybe saying, let's coast a little bit until it really means something, then turn it on. My thought would be maybe for the older guys, but they're so deep, Jay, I would think that the other guys would still play hard. There's some young legs in that backup unit there where they can still go, but they're not cohesive at this point in time. I agree with you. And the way Boston's running like a well-oiled machine, it'll be a hard night, I think, for the Clippers. They're always capable, but I mean, I can't bet on what they're capable of at this point in time. I know what Boston's capable of. I see it almost every night of the week.
I don't see how they don't smoke them. To be honest with you, Celtics average the number one points is they're number one in points in the first quarter as well. What are we seeing from the Clippers? Their offense is struggling, so they dropped down to number two. They tied, man. They tied with the Nuggets over there. So, but regards to that, man, I'd see Celtics. They might cash the trifecta, Rob. That's the only way I could look in this one is bleeding green with the Celtics. You want to back one of the top tier teams in a bounce back spot, guys. So I know that the Celtics. I know this is a late night game as well. I didn't necessarily. I mean, maybe I don't know. I still lean their way full game as well, but late night games at the East Coast teams, I do try to stay away from it. I might make that like a permanent rule of mine, no matter what situation, just to stay off of it. But I do. This is one where collision course Clippers. When you look at it as well, Rob, they're coming off playing 6 of 7 road games as well, coming off a 4-game East Coast road trip. They're a West Coast team, so you got to get back acclimated to the time zone as well. Only one day off. This is somewhat of an older team. I think the Clippers start out here early and often here, and you probably cash that full game as well, Rob, in this one. As always, man, it's $9 Mondays over at Wager Talk, Rob. I know you've been killing it over there doing NFL, doing college basketball, NBA, all that, Rob. What you got going over at Wager Talk, and any free picks for us today on the show?
Yeah, the first thing I'm going to say is the play that's up and available right now from the NBA tonight. Best bet, guys, please don't bet it. Don't buy it because you're going to get it out of my mouth officially for watching Jay's show here today. We'll give you that. But I will say $9 Monday, we're going to load up here with a couple of bowls, the Monday night football games. If you're interested in football whatsoever, you can get the football plays for $9 at wagertalk.com. But the NBA, please don't go out and purchase because you're going to hear it here. You catch it for free. Let me go ahead back, Jay. And real quick, this week in particular, if you just want to pick up some analysis on all these games that are coming forth, the Wager Talk video schedule is loaded this week, Jay. We're going to be a busy group over there. I got the schedule yesterday. So if you want to check any game whatsoever, please drop your name in if you're not a member already, or your email address, excuse me, not your name. Email address gets you free access to all the video content that's going on right now today. You like watching Jay's show, you like watching those shows. We get as informative as we can for all of you out there. Once again, it's wagertalk.com. Official plays. I love on this show how we're official. I love that. I'm going to go official with Memphis. I do think that Ja will play in that game. I do think Atlanta's at a disadvantage here because of scheduling and last night's overtime game. And I do think they played a little bit over their heads offensively 2 games in a row. You know, I often tell you, Jay, that I like bounce back. And Atlanta hasn't shot the basketball as well as they've shot the last 2 games, basically all season long. So I'm going to take Memphis. I'll lay 8, and then we're going to go to the bottom of the board. Again, please don't purchase this play, but I'm on Boston -3.5 against the Clips. Jay and I talked about it just now. And I'll say this. You probably just made me open up my wallet a little bit more because when we're done here, I'm going to personally go. I had forgotten how well Boston plays in first quarters.
Right.
Sometimes we handicap so much, certain things slip your mind. If they're not in front of me in my notes, I forget. But you bringing that up means I'm going to personally go ahead and bet first quarter for myself. But, yeah, I like Boston and I like Memphis tonight, buddy.
Yeah, I couldn't talk you off. I couldn't talk you off as well. Now, it was just funny, real quick, Rob, that you said load up a couple of bowls. That was just funny as hell. I'm sure like
yeah, and you got the Rocky Mountains behind you. Yeah,
exactly. I'm sure the bone smokers like, hey, we loading up cold bowls.
Yeah.
Real quick, guys. For me, man, today, 50% off shirts, man, over at the site of Jay and Shark Shirts, Smack City, Us Against the Bookies, and Let's Get Some Cash shirts, guys. So we're running a little Christmas special for the next couple of weeks up until Christmas here. 50% off shirts over at the site. If you get 2 or more shirts as well, you also get a free pair of shades as well, my guys, sent out to you. So use promo code XMS for 50% off shirts over there at the site, jmoneyismoney.com today, man. Now, let's get to the picks here for today's show, man. Love doing shows with my guy Rob. I like to go with one official, one top play, to be honest with you. I hadn't really got there yet, to be honest with you. I'll tell you, it's a lot of bounce back plays on the show today. I'll tell you what I'm looking at. I'm looking at Heat first quarter and full game bounce back spots. The Mavs early and often first quarter, first half bounce back spot. Wolves as well, full game in that one. It's a bounce back spot, man. Coming off that's a quick revenge spot as well. In the Celtics first quarter, first half bounce backs. That's crazy because every single one of those plays are bounce back J spots, to be honest with you guys. So liking every one of them, to be honest with you. I will probably post one top play on Action Network out or on Twitter app, my guys. So I appreciate everybody for tuning in. Bet whatever you absolutely love. I always say go with whatever you feel is best in your heart. That's what you're gonna sleep best with at night, guys. It's always us against the bookies as well. You're not competing up against us. You're competing against whoever you're betting with. You dig what I'm saying? Go hit the site, jmoneyismoney.com. When the last chance to get a shirt, 50% off, man. I cannot talk you off. Love doing shows with my guy Rob. Check him out on Twitter at Rob Veno Sports as well, man. Go check him out at Wager Talk as well, man. You can follow me as well at jmoneyismoney. We out, man. Let's make it a money making Monday. Let's get this cash. We will win.